What's up, Magnetic Men Club? If you're new here in the group, this might be your first time seeing us come in here. I'm Chase. This is my good friend Jared here.
What's up, kids? I guess we're coming live now in the Facebook private group too. So this is
Yes,
the first one that's live with you guys. Also live on in
on
YouTube, right?
YouTube. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Obviously, Chase and Kim are the computer people. I just show up and run my mouth, so I'm good at that.
Yeah, I mean, but today, without further ado, let's try and get into the topic and stuff for you guys today. Today, we wanted to talk a lot about brotherhood and rite of passage. I've been rereading the book Iron John by Robert Bly. He wrote this back in the early 90s because he noticed there was a pattern going on with men from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s. He noticed we were kind of moving into an era of what he called weak men in a way. Like he said he likes them, you know, they don't want to start wars, they don't want to exhaust the planet's resources and stuff like that, but they're men who are living in turmoil, they're living with frustration, they don't really know why. And so we kind of wanted to cover that topic today because I think the real good analogy to kind of bang this through and get this across is you are the sum of the five people that you hang out with. If you're hanging out with five losers, you're the next one. If you're hanging out with five millionaires, you are the next one. You hang out with five people to go to the gym, you're probably going to the gym. You hang out with five people who go to the bar every night after work, you're probably going to the bar. And so that's the thing is like really the people around you end up molding you, shaping you into the person that you are. And sometimes we're not happy with who that person is. And so it's really important to find that group of men, to find that brotherhood that you really belong to and that you really feel devoted to. And it's really got to be men that are on a greater mission in life, who are really trying to initiate the men around them and trying to drive them forward and pursue excellence together. We really just want to build that epic life for ourselves, right?
Absolutely, and really, I think maybe a good starting place is even before who you're hanging out with now. Who raised you actually influenced you more than who you're hanging out with now because they're just a function of who raised you. So for instance, my dad was around. He was, for all intents and purposes, he was a functioning alcoholic. He went to work. He never missed a day of work. So I saw that positive. Like for me, I was like, okay, hard work, perseverance, go to work, no excuses. So I took that as a positive. Obviously, I didn't take the alcoholism too much as a positive, but my mom, just like Chase, really raised me. Like, I mean, my grandmother, my mom, my school teachers were all women. I mean, we are a product of that village. And if the village is all women, then you're kind of feminized in a way. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying it you can see it in real time what's happening. If women are your social influence growing up, you're probably to a greater degree in your feminine more, and you're probably weaker because of it. Now, what what balanced me out a little bit was my grandfather. He was a World War II, two Purple Hearts. He never beated his chest. I saw what a real man was. He worked. He had a very close group of male friends. They all kind of served together, but they never really talked about it. They never sat around drinking beer. They just went to work and they talked. I don't really know what they talked about because it was their group. Then I went into the military and then I kind of got my understanding of what the Greeks called the agoge. Everybody had a rite of passage. Theirs was called the agoge. And you guys all saw 300, basically when they turned 7, the mom raised them all the way up to the time they were 7. Right around 7 years old is when they start going through their rite of passage, which was called the agoge. And they basically got their ass kicked, starved. They were encouraged to steal, and if they got caught, they had to pay the consequences. The whole point of it was to get these boys into men and fight as a tribe, fight as one unit. And that's what we have lost largely in society. Everybody's out for them fucking selves. Everybody's out for themselves. There's really no band of brothers that I've noticed other than military, there are some military like the VFWs. You have motorcycle gangs, which is kind of that rite of passage. They go through it. The point of all this is everybody does have their clique, but it's self-serving. They're serving their clique for themselves. They're not serving it generally for the greater good or for the greater public. Gangs are a perfect way. Why do you think gangs are so important? Why do you think gangs are so big right now? It's because these boys don't have a father figure in their lives, and they are looking for influence. They're looking to feel important. They're looking to feel powerful. Well, you can get that in a gang. You can get that in the military. You can get it in a bike gang. You can get it in all these places. So these boys are looking for it in the wrong places, and it's causing them criminality, criminal charges. They're causing them all kinds of problems. But they feel powerful. They feel like they belong into this group. And so this is why gangs have taken off as much as they have. This is why you have all this stuff. But the good, solid men, the men that are on their path, the men that are on their purpose, the men that are going places, I would venture to say they have a very strong, very focused group of other men that are going the same way. I have yet to see a very successful man do it himself. He had a group of other men. He also had probably a very good woman on his side,
Right.
but
I think that
I
like they're
largely think every men of these days they're just kind of floating. They don't really
right.
know what they belong to. They don't really know who they are. And I'm not just talking about 20-year-olds. I'm talking about the guys who I coach that are divorced now, and they put all of their energy in their women, and now they don't have friends. They don't really know what they're supposed to do after divorce. They don't really know what they're supposed to do. And it's like, okay, well, you need to get around other men who don't really know what they're supposed to do either, but you guys will fucking figure it out. As long as you're positive, as long as you have some type of awareness about you can figure it out. You don't need to sit there and drink with your buddies at a bar every Friday and Saturday. They're not going to help you level up. They're going to keep you exactly
Right.
where you are because they don't want to see you ascend to your true highest calling. They want to keep you exactly where they are.
Well, their mission becomes your mission, and like nobody really like. So that's the thing is, if all these guys are out there kind of drinking after work every day, it's kind of like their way to decompress. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the thing to understand there is, yeah, they're going nowhere. Like they're not going to do anything with their lives. Like they're not going to level up, and maybe the same way that you want to level up, and it just might not be the right place for that reason. I know what it's like to be around family members who just don't want to step up. Like a lot of the men in your life who just don't step up. A lot of the women in your life who tell you that, men are the enemy and you shouldn't be a man. That was me growing up. A lot of my mom's friends that I was around all the time too, because I didn't have a dad. I didn't have any male influences. Yeah. And so like they would tell me like, hey, Chase, don't grow up to be a man. like I knew what they were talking about or anything about it, right? And usually they were just hens out there clucking, just kind of getting their points across or whatever. It is what it is, right? But at the end of the day, like it's influential to us. We don't realize that it's influencing us, but it is. And really, like a lot of men, I don't think stop to examine their wounds. They don't really stop to try and figure out exactly what their traumas are. Maybe they have trauma from their parents, from their mother, from their father. Maybe their father abandoned them and they haven't faced it yet. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and it creates a lot of turmoil and inner rage inside of us. And if we don't face it, we don't have the right people around us to help us face it, we end up turning to substances. We end up turning to all of the negative behaviors that kind of hold us back. Like we end up watching porn. We end up consuming dopamine. We end up consuming fatty foods. We end up drinking, smoking weed, all those kinds of things to kind of cope with what's going on. And at the end of the day, none of those things really make us that happy. None of those things really leave us feeling fulfilled. We don't feel like we're moving forward at all. We don't feel like we're moving into a better life or anything's improving. And we really don't even know what we want. Just like Jared said, like we're kind of floating through life. And it's because we haven't sat down to really create a map for ourselves. We're not really certain what our values are, what matters to us, why it matters to us. We really haven't sat down to figure those things out. So we have no conviction. And when we have no conviction, we kind of just go with the flow. We kind of just go with whatever comes our way, and we're kind of just okay with that. we get into a divorce and like immediately we want to get back into another relationship because we don't feel like we're okay with ourselves. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, also you got to remember too, and this was a lot of guys might disagree with me, but it's absolutely true. We need direction. We need to kind of be told what to do. Perfect example of this: if I get dropped in an island with four other dudes, and one dude was an ex-Navy SEAL, and he can make fire out of fucking rain. He's in charge. No other guy's going to argue with him and be like, "Yeah, no, you know what? I'm a corporate banker. I can contribute to this." You fucking can't. So the point is, we need somebody to say, "All right, well, you go collect this. You go do this. I'm going to start a fire. You need to go find something SOS. You need to make something really big." This is how the Agoj works. They were told what to do as a boy. They said, go do this, go do that, keep doing it, keep pounding on your craft until you become an expert. This is how the military works. You have a drill instructor, you have a you have a whole team of drill instructors. They tell you how to march, they tell you how to flank right, how to flank left. They tell you and show you how to run in formation so that you run as a unit. Men need structure. They need to be told what to do, not because we're dumb, but this is our operating system. Most men's operating system is see one, do one, teach one. We see someone do it, we do it, now we can teach it. That's how we operate. So when we don't have a male figure in our lives telling us what to do or showing us what to do, we become nothing but feathers in the wind. And I see this time and time again with young men and actually older men who they never had an agoj, they never had a military, they never experienced true trauma. And they need to. They need to basically get your balls kicked in time and time again. They need to have structure. So what's happening now, you can see it in real time. These influencers like Andrew Tate, these influencers like Fresh and Fit, they're telling men what to do. Go bang a bunch of bitches, get rich. Now, some of the stuff they're saying is dead on balls, like what we say. I don't really say go out and date 20 women at once. Some of them do that, but they're giving these young men direction. And this is why they're so wildly popular. This is why they're making so much money online. This is why when they sell something to these young, impressionable men, they buy it because they want direction. Tell me what to do. How can I get the Lamborghini like you, Andrew? How can I get the house? How can you get the 5 women? How can I travel on a private jet and go wherever I want? Tell me what to do. And then you buy my course and then they tell you what to do. Now, I'm not bashing these guys at all because their courses might work. I don't know. But it goes back to my point where men need structure. They need to be told what to do because if they don't, they're going to resort back to basically nothing. They're going to kind of go back to infancy and just sit there and they'll play video games. They'll become incels. They'll start hating women because they haven't done the work. They don't know how to talk to them. So women will start friend zoning them. They'll start not talking back to them. And then these guys will start hating women. So then they get in black pilled.
Right.
They turn into incels. All of this can be.
And that's just further wounds too. Like it's just really they've received wounds from women that they're not examining, that they're not okay with, that they haven't healed from, and so a lot of the time that's where a lot
Yeah.
of that comes from.
Yeah, but see a lot of me, I don't really listen to all this woo-hoo wound healing. For me, the best way to heal a wound is quit fucking picking it. Move forward.
Right.
Yeah, shit happened. Sorry, quit saying, but this girl left me, my wife left me, but this
Not
happened.
helpful.
Who
Yeah.
gives a shit? Honestly, I'll listen to you. I'll empathize with you. But the next time we have a conversation, you better have some fucking solutions because I'm not going to listen to you crying again.
Don't stay there. Yeah.
You can't stay there. That's the difference between successful people and people who are not successful. Successful people fail way more. They just get up and keep going. people who like to lick their wounds and sit and talk to therapists and sing kumbaya and hold themselves, those are not the guys I want to talk to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're hurting, but I can't work with you because you do not understand the very basic principle between men. Men need to take action. We don't need to talk about our feelings as much. We need to take fucking action, and we need to take right
We
action.
want to move
That's
towards our
how I
mission.
do.
Like that's
Huh?
the thing. We want to move towards our mission. Like that's the biggest thing. The only thing that really makes us feel fulfilled is progress. And if we're not
Yeah,
making progress, we feel stuck. And if we feel stuck, we don't know what to do. We're confused about the direction we're trying to go in. We don't know what our next few steps are. We don't
yeah.
even know what direction we're trying to move in a lot of cases.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when you guys at least understand, yeah, he's right. We need to be told what to do. When you get into a brotherhood, it could be our Magnetic Men Club, it could be any club. I mean, any club that's positive, that's shooting a positive message. You're by default kind of referring to the people within that group. They're not necessarily telling you what to do. They're showing you what positivity looks like. Maybe this group there, maybe it's a divorce group and all the guys are in the same place. They're all going through various parts of divorce. Well, you guys can help each other out, not by sitting there bitching about your ex soon to be ex women. What can we do to move forward? Okay, this is happening. It's happening. We have to accept this. Now, what can we do? Well, we can be there for our kids. Our kids don't need to see us wallowing when it's our weekend and we're sitting there wallowing and drinking. We're going to be there for our kids. We're going to go to the gym. We're hurting for money because half of it has to go to her now. Okay, well, we need more income. Maybe I need a second job. Maybe I need to drive for Uber. There's no shame in that. You need to take action. All of this is action. But what I get a lot is guys hoping their situation will
Right.
change, but they don't do shit about it. They hope. And hope by itself, as soon as you enter into that feeling of hope, the next step is pure disaster because hope and no action equals disaster every single time because now you're letting shit happen to you instead of you being actively a participant in your own life. Our club, when I talk to people, if they're not willing to participate in their own saving and their own life, I don't want anything to do with them because they can't even do that.
So real
And
quick,
by
we got a member, one of our brothers from the group here. Actually, he wanted to jump in on the conversation. So
jump in,
I'm going to
brother.
invite him in here. This is Bill Dory from our group.
Is he jumping in?
Hey,
Oh, there he is.
hey guys, thanks for
What's
having
up?
me. Pardon my the quality here. It's not the greatest day where I'm at, but
Are you in the sun? Can you turn? So it looks like you're in the sun.
no, man, it's a problem with my camera right now. I was trying to fix it before I got on, but
No
nonetheless,
problem.
Oh, good.
yeah, guys, no, great chats, man. I really love this stuff. Like I feel like I've kind of been on my own preaching the same message that I'm hearing you guys preach for a while. So as soon as I seen Brotherhood, I was like, what? There's more of us. Let's do this. And there's something occurring. They say that hard times make strong men. Well, here we are, boys. And this is the front line, and it's happening everywhere. And I heard you saying a lot, like people need direction, Jared, and you're 110% right in what kind of I've experienced around me. And I guess to kind of give you a bit of a rundown, like 2 years ago, I was just really bad place in life, depression, anxiety, bad health, thought I was way better than I was, huge ego, not making the money I should be, horrible to my wife, probably not the best father I could, all the things that is the typical stereotypical male in our culture, what we've been bred to be by our culture. We're the fumbling buffoon while the women walk around and keep the family together. That's what we've been brought into being, and that's what a lot of us just default to. So I had enough. I got to a point where I just needed to change. The depression was bad, and I got into Whole Foods. And I literally just changed my diet. I did a 30-day whole food challenge, nothing but one meal ingredients. We're talking just meat and veggies and fruit, man. And half of my physical problems changed a lot, and like my mental changed, my health turned around. I went from being like insulin resistant to not. It really kind of just was the first catalyst in kind of taking control of our lives, and that's a big thing that all us want in our lives is we know what we need to do, we just can't get right. We can't do it. We don't know what that path is, right? So this kind of ignited a path for me. And from there, I start to get in a little more confidence in myself. I start to have a single form of discipline. Before that, it was just whatever my desires were. If I want to look at pornography, I'd look at pornography. If I want to play video games, I do that. If I want to eat food, I'd smoke drugs. Whatever it was that my body wanted, I gave into it because I had no form of discipline. So the food initiated that discipline. I found Andy Frisella with 75 Hard. Whew. Me and my wife completed that. It took a long time. We got through it. And the discipline element has really fermented in my life, and it's allowed me to kind of take hold of all these different areas where I don't look at porn and I don't do this and I don't do that. And I'm just broadcasting my everyday movements online, man. And I'm getting messages from other men that are like, man, this is how are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't really know, but here we are in real time doing it together here, you know, and I met you guys. Right. So I think just having the example, being at the forefront, talking about the things that nobody wants to talk about, like we're doing right now, is going to be the key that's going to ignite this. And I'll stop talking, guys, because I could talk all day. Go ahead.
Oh man, we love it. You know, anytime you want to jump on or stay on, man, the more the merrier, especially in these calls, because I think other men, you know, Chase and I have been doing this for a while. And so when other guys jump on, it also gives permission, because I think guys still need permission to be themselves. So we get a lot of messages privately, and I'm like, come on, just jump on and do a video with us. And they don't want to do that. So when they see a dude like you come in, you're now giving them permission. Fuck, I can do this too. I can just jump on and have a conversation about some of my wins and some of my struggles. You know,
But
so
here's
I
the
love
thing.
it.
That the thing that triggered that though is the confidence in myself. And I can unapologetically be masculine and whatever I want to be. And when I walk into a room, there's energy. You can see heads turn because of how I feel about myself. And the only reason I have that confidence, I can get on here and tell you the things I'm saying, is because I wake up every morning and earn self-respect by doing the things that I know I have to do. And when I do, that's what ignites that pip in your step, man, where people can feel you. And until you get right there and the fundamentals of what you wake up and do every day, it never ferments into anything macro where you can get up and do what you guys are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned 2 years ago there was a tipping point where you first started with Whole Foods. But prior to that, what was so here? I guess let me frame it this way. Everybody knows what they should do, but I want to watch porn. I want to drink beer. I want to play video games, whatever. They default back to what's easy. And the reason why they do that is they don't have like really a compensating interest. There has to be something more I want to give up these things. What was that for you?
So I didn't just give up everything, I guess, at once. It was a process, and there's things that we know we do on a daily basis that we're deep down disgusted with ourselves and why we do them, whether it's just being lazy, whether it's looking at porn, whether it's wasting time, whatever it might be. We know that, you know, and if we had control of those things, we would just get right and it wouldn't matter. So for me, I was in a spot with my health where I was petrified. I got a 4-year-old daughter. She was 2 at the time. You know, I'm only 36 years old and my feet are tingling, my fingers are tingling, starting to have some legitimate health issues, and scared me straight to just to dig into the health side of things, right? And once I discovered discipline, and in any form, which was the first form was through food and nutrition, it made me realize that all these other things I was doing, you know, I could get right. And I learned a lot from a lot of people along the way. I learned a lot from Eric Thomas. I learned about grind from Eric Thomas. From Jocko Willnick, I learned about ultimate accountability, personal responsibility. From Andy Frisella, I learned how to actually execute. 75 Hard is the blueprint. I don't know if you guys, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing better for a human being than to go through that program, honestly. And I got a lot of friends that want to do it, and they're like, they get in a couple days in, they fail, and then they just quit. And I try to explain to them, it's like, if you could do this program without failure, you wouldn't need it. You would already be at that level. The whole point is you're fighting a video game boss, and you're going to keep losing every time you battle him. But eventually you're going to learn insight on how to beat him, and you're going to get better and better. And then once you do it, you can do it every time. You progress, and I find discipline's the same way. So I digress. But what I guess my point was is once I learned discipline, I was able to kind of start tackling other aspects of my life and slowly moving away from things. The big one, pornography, was the fact that we're by default super low testosterone guys. Like we're subprime human beings. We're not real men compared to what we should be, just from the fact of our environment. From, you're going to look at porn every day. Most dudes are 2-3 times a day. And I mean, nobody will admit that. Is what it is. But you're depleting yourself constantly, and there's nutritional problems with that. There's everything else. So like, once you start to break out of those things and really understand that it's not just like you just got this weird habit, it's like physically making you less of what you are. And I think we can all agree we're in a time where we need to optimize every aspect of us if we're going to turn the culture around, right? And I've always said, if you restore men, you can restore the family unit. And if you can restore the family unit, we can restore our culture. Because it started that same way. They went after the men to get rid of the patriarch so that they could get rid of the family unit, so that they could in turn walk in and take over. And that's what they've done. They've ruined our culture.
Yeah, I would argue on that. They actually went after the women first and through feminism, because they taught the women go to work, because now they can tax them, and then give up your children to school. So it was a double front. Really, I think they attacked women first, thinking if we can get them out of the house and give up their kids, and then attack the men in the sense of, let's start doing all these sitcoms and these movies, making the woman the superhero, and the men the dundling moron,
The whole media.
we don't need them. So the pendulum has completely went, all the way, I guess we want to call it to the left now, because the libtards. So it went all the way to the left, and it's starting to swing back. And obviously we're going to kind of go to the right a little bit, but everybody operates the best kind of when everything's in the middle. Everybody, we're trying to get equilibrium here again, and we're so far to the left with everything. But guys like Bill, guys like Chase, guys like in our program, they're starting to realize, okay, I need to take accountability first for me, because that has to start with me. And I tell you, man, I applaud you for coming on. If it sounded to me like your compensating interest really was your health. That was the thing that scared you to first eat whole foods, which then gained you some level of satisfaction. Of course, you're feeling better, which started giving you confidence. Was that correct?
Absolutely.
So
No, it was.
That's awesome. And it was and so the domino effect, which I just did a video on, it's not dropped yet. Your domino for you was first the health, and then everything started falling in line. You started realizing I can take control of my health. I can take control of the gym, your regimen. You can get back into the family. I can stop porn. I can stop drinking. Maybe if you were smoking, all of that stuff. But it's one domino. You have to do one thing first. And like you even said, Bill, I didn't do everything at once. A lot of people make that mistake. They try and eliminate and be the best person they can be overnight, and then they all fail.
Well, I know for me, like I went through something similar, and the big domino for me was my family life. Like everything in my family was falling apart. Like I've been an entrepreneur for years, and I know for a fact that like I wasn't focused enough on the home life. I wasn't focused enough on my kids. I wasn't focused enough on my wife or myself or my own health. Like I was pretty much steamrolling over all of it because like it was in the name of profit, in the name of making money. And I moved down here to Mexico, moved to Cabo, decided to live the whole digital nomad entrepreneurial life, spent $100,000 on coaching to learn everything that I needed to about business, about marketing, and about making it in this business as an entrepreneur, and being able to be here. Like, it's taught me some lessons, right? I can't simply go get a job because I'm in Mexico. I don't really have a visa here that allows me to go get a job. And even if I did, the job wouldn't pay anything. And so the thing is I have to make my money online. I have no choice. I have to make it work. If I don't have money, then basically the family goes hungry. I'm failing, right? And so we've got to figure out how to make that work. And so that was one of the big dominoes for me, was the fact that, like, everybody was reflecting me. My wife was reflecting me. My kids were reflecting me. They were watching my example. They weren't behaving. Everything was falling apart because everybody was pretty much slacking on all of their responsibilities, because that's what they saw from me. Because in the name of the business is all that matters. Just let me get this done. We'll make the money, and then we'll fix it. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And so I hit a wall. I got stuck, and I didn't know what to do. And my wife asked me for a divorce. She actually left and everything too, with the kids. And everything just started to kind of fall apart for me. I just didn't know what to do. The business started to fall apart. I lost that business. I had to step out of it. And ultimately, everything just kind of came crashing down around me. And really, I didn't really have it in my mind to fix anything. But even this year, man, I've quit so much. Like, I realized I'm living true to 75 hard without even trying. I started looking. I asked my wife, I'm like, can you pull up the list for 75 hard? And we pulled it up. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm doing all those things. And I wasn't even trying to. I just automatically quit the alcohol. I automatically was reading the books. I automatically was trying to journal every day. I was trying to teach myself new skills, learn stuff about all this masculine content, because it really started to matter to me. That's where my mission came from. That's why I went all in on this business, is because this stuff matters. And men need this stuff. And all the coaches that I've talked to about this stuff too, like, what you guys do is really important, because we need men like that right now, who are out here trying to teach other men how to, like, create that brotherhood for everybody, that we can all step into, we can all follow out for each other, because we're all on that same mission together. And like I said, this isn't necessarily a sobriety program, but that's what it became for me. Like, I just didn't care about drinking anymore. I didn't care about smoking anymore. I didn't care about the fast food anymore. It's easier here in Mexico because everything's pretty much Whole Foods. You really don't have access to a lot of the same stuff you do in the U.S. But now things are really starting to change drastically for me. And a lot of it comes down to those things, like specifically trying to get my health in order. But before that, it all started with just going to the gym. Like, the first thing I started with, going to the gym. And that really was what made the massive difference for me. And then I realized, okay, I don't have the energy that I want to while I'm at the gym. I'm not really getting the results I want. And so I started looking at my nutrition. I'm like, every time I drink, I feel like crap the next day. I don't want to go to the gym. And so in favor of that goal, I quit drinking so that I would feel better, have more energy while I went to the gym, so I could get more results. And then I realized my food was making me feel like crap. I'm like, okay, so I need to stop eating fast food. I need to stop eating out. I need to stop eating greasy foods. I need to get rid of sugar entirely. I need to stop drinking soda entirely and replace it with water. And when I started to do those things, everything just started to change. Everything just started to fall into place. My kids started acting better. My relationship with my wife got better. Everything just started to improve. The business started trending up, and everything just started to unlock.
Absolutely. Awesome, man. Awesome.
My wife, like, I was very fortunate. Like, we were living toxically together. We were both had the same habits of lifestyle. We're best friends, right? So it was, in a good way, we weren't at odds in that sense. Obviously, we were at odds another way. And just like the way you had mentioned, is like, you do reflect. Everything reflects. You're the leader of the household. You're the center point of everything. Everything reflects you. So if, your wife isn't the way that you want her to be, it's because you're not the way that you need to be. Your children are acting up. Well, guess what? They don't just learn how to behave. You're not parenting them correctly, or not so much correctly, but you're not being effective, right? And
you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right, exactly. And with my wife, like, we kind of went on that journey together with the whole food stuff, and like, she was a little bit worse health than I was, and we went through 75 hard together as well. And man, like, my daughter, we get up at 4:30 every day, me and my wife, and by 5:00, my daughter's dragging her bands out. She's doing the exercises with us, and it's not that we want her up. We're trying to get a little bit of workout in before we got to kind of do the parent thing, right? But it's just, you start to see all you got to do is just excel, and not just your family, but your friends. strangers, people see you. Like it's insane. And then that's what inspires me to keep going. Like I post some crazy content about some very controversial stuff and I lose just about as many followers as I gain. But the ones that I do gain are the ones that send me the messages and say, man, like, thank you for that post. That I got off my video game because I made a big rant about video games and how like they're, anyway, we won't get into it, but I had a friend message and he's like, look, I literally put down my video game and realized like I'm an entrepreneur and I don't even have my plan for next week and I'm playing video games. You're right. So, that's why I get a lot of respect for when I seen you guys, is because this is the battle. This is where ground is going to be won. It's in getting up and speaking out and just like, boys, there's a path to victory here. There's a big path to victory, right?
Yeah. And it's also you're doing what you're saying. There's a lot of influencers out there that say do this thing, but they're not doing it. You just do a little bit of back research. You're like, all right, you're just full of fucking shit. But because they're good at marketing, because they are creating a story, they are getting people to buy into their ideology. And their ideology is fine, but they're not putting their own action into it. They're just salespeople. That's all it is. And so guys like you come along, you're just very organic. You're just talking away. And I love that because you're actually doing what you say you're doing. And you can prove it because you keep saying your wife. If your wife thinks you're full of shit, she'd be on here like, Bill, what the fuck, man? What are you talking about? So I love that
Check
about you, man. That's
my
awesome.
social. Anybody listening, check my social. I'm not trying to plug or nothing, but if you really want to call my bullshit, I post everything. I post my losses, guys. I got big pictures with a loser going across my face in a selfie because I failed 75 hard. And I love failure because I grow from it and I recognize that's what it is. And it takes some time to get to that point, but I want everybody to see it. Like you see these influencers, like you said, and it's just all manufactured content. Every single person loses. Andy Frisella loses. Eric Thomas loses. You boys lose. We all lose, and that needs to be expressed, not just the wins, right?
Real quick though, we got another brother here. Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Make sure we all knew he's here.
What's going on, man?
Can't hear you.
Turn his mic on. You got your mic on? Still can't hear you, brother. Hold on.
Give him a second.
Just gonna turn my cam off for a couple seconds, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, we're just trying to get the audio here.
But in any case, too, the biggest thing here is basically we're just trying to start a movement here. Like a lot of having all these guys on and everything here too. Like we're really trying to get more people that are on this same mission. Just because, like Bill said, we are all on the front lines of this. Yeah. And nobody's really out here preaching a lot of this stuff. Nobody's really out here talking about these topics. And when you do, you definitely get vilified. Like I know that I've lost probably, I've gained more followers than I've lost. But a lot of the people that I had from my childhood, a lot of the superficial relationships that I've valued over the years, I didn't realize I was kind of censoring myself to hold on to those people. And at the same time, once I started talking about the things that I really care about, they stopped following me. They left in droves. A lot of the women and stuff that I had from high school that were still on my friends list, they unfollowed me, unfriended me immediately. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. At least now I'm replacing my followers with the people that actually want to hear this message, because this is me. And this is me being me. And this is me not being scared about talking about the things that I care about. And I think so many people out here are afraid to have these conversations, are afraid to talk about this stuff. And in a lot of cases are afraid to be the men that they really want to be. They're really just not being authentic and true to themselves.
That's a lot right there, because a lot of people have this herd mentality. They just don't want to piss off people. They want to kind of go along to get along. And, back test this to the fucking COVID vaccine where, some of these dudes and girls did not want to get it, but they just kind of fell in line because everybody else was doing it. Thank God for me, and particularly that and my kids. I said, fuck no, as a starch. Did not. There he is. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what happened. It's a browser thing. I had to go into my browser, Samsung browser, and I did mess with some audio stuff, some audio settings. But yeah, I
I
suspect
love the hair, brother. I wish I could do that, but fuck, I can't do that. I like it.
Yeah, it was my
Where
girlfriend's
you from?
idea, man. I told her, I'm like, I just had all blonde hair before, but she's like, let me try this, and then she put the black on, and she's like, let me try this. She put the red on, and that's when I told her, that's it. That's what we're stopping.
Yeah.
You ain't putting no more fun colors in my hair, girl.
We're
So,
done. We're done. Where are you from, brother?
Texas,
What part?
New Braunfels.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Nice. I'm up here in New York, upstate. Chase is obviously in Mexico.
Down here in
Cabo.
Cabo.
Mexico
So
or New Mexico?
Mexico, down in Cabo, tip of the Baja Peninsula.
yeah, he's the smart one. He's out of country. Although
Yeah.
you're not bad. You can at least have weapons in Texas. In New York, we got nothing. So
Yeah, I heard about that. They took the gun laws, or they made the gun laws real serious there within the last 10 years or so.
yeah,
Has it
it's
always been like that?
crazy.
Or?
Kathy Hochul, the governor, she's just complete evil. But soon enough, I'll be down. I'll be in the Carolinas, so I've been making the Mecca down there, and soon enough, I'll be down there. But
You
what
know,
brings you on, brother? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
well, actually, I was going to comment on Bill, what he was saying before about pornography. I tell that to a lot of guys that I talk to. I'm like, he was right when he said that pornography depletes your masculinity, and it also causes you to become attached to a screen, so you have no idea what intimacy is about anymore. One thing I noticed, there was one guy, as when I was coaching a long time ago, I had a coaching practice in my local area here. He told me he had a problem with ED, so he got like what is that? Those pills? What are those
Oh,
pills? Viagra, yeah. and he's
Viagra.
like,
Yep.
and the more I talked to him, he said the problem that he would have is he could look at porn and get a hard on, but when it came to the real thing, he couldn't get a hard on.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have
And I was
performance
like,
anxiety.
yeah, I was kind of confused at first because I don't look at porn. I don't need porn, right? I got like
Yeah.
4 or 5
Right.
different girls that I could go to at any time. I don't need porn. I don't like porn. I actually had a guy tell me before, a guy I was friends with for a little bit. He's like, when you don't have a girl around, he's like, you should just look at porn, dude. So I tried it one time. I went on, I looked at porn. I'm like, this thing went off my head. Like, why am I looking at other people having sex?
Yeah.
Like, why am I looking at that? Like, what's it doing for me? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking at this dude having fun, right? So with this hot chick, but what am I doing? And I just couldn't get myself to like get excited about it. And so that's why I started telling this guy I was coaching, and that's what we kind of like agreed on, is that the pornography was causing him to go into a state where when it was time for the real thing, he couldn't get it up. Because like you said, it was that anxiety.
Sure.
It's easier to look at a screen than it is, to be with the real thing. It's a totally different experience.
Yep.
And so like that's what I tell guys, that I talk to about relationships and everything. I say, you guys don't look at porn at all. You're literally becoming a woman when you look at porn. You're not being more of a man.
It rewires your brain.
Yeah, and I told them this too. This is something I think is really important for a lot of guys. They don't seem to really get this. Like when you're doing it for the real thing, and like just before you climax, you feel sort of like this like aggression that you want to like just like go really hard and fast, like this aggression. That's like your masculinity and your maleness coming out. And like when you do that through pornography, you're fucking up your brain.
Yeah.
Your brain
Absolutely.
thinks you're getting the real thing, but you're not getting the real thing, and so it causes this like weird sort of, like you said, anxiety.
Yeah.
And our society, like you said, is, to me, our society is trying to turn men into women. It's trying to emasculate
Right.
men. Because
It
if
is.
you go out, I mean, I've been called a jerk. I've been called like a macho head, and it's like I'm none of that. I'm just a man. Like I
Yep.
go through life unapologetic. Now, if I do something wrong to somebody and I know I did something wrong, then I'll go and I'll apologize for what I did. But if I do something and somebody doesn't like it, I'm not responsible for their happiness or their sadness.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, as long my personal moral compass is whatever I do, say, or think, as long as it doesn't hurt me or another person, then it's probably okay to do if I want to do it. But if it does hurt another person, if it does hurt me, then it's probably something I should think about twice before I do it. Because, and I tell guys this too. I tell them, you can be a man without being a jerk. Like you don't have to be like how society talks about. What do they call that? Like I forget the word. They call it like
Toxic masculinity.
yeah, that's it. Toxic masculinity. Yeah, I'm like those two words should not even go together,
They
man,
don't.
because
Yeah.
there really is no such thing as toxic masculinity at
No.
all. There's either
I did a video
masculinity
on that. I said that those two words don't even make sense together. But
right, right.
now there are obviously toxic men
Yeah,
and toxic women.
yeah,
So you could argue, okay, they're a toxic man, but the masculinity part is masculinity is our essence. We're the box that contains femininity. And if we have a strong masculine frame for femininity to stay in, then they can go wild. As soon as we start cracking and have a bad frame, the femininity, which is the wild, that's the fire, takes off. And this is what you're getting in real time. Women out there having sex wherever they want and doing all the things they want, they're not contained. I'm not saying contained in a bad way. Most women want a very strong, dominant, masculine man to
yeah.
contain her femininity so that
To
she
lead,
feels
yeah,
safe
right.
to stay. Yeah. And most men can't do that, or they
I think
don't
most,
they're really good in the beginning, but and then they start cracking
yeah.
because they
I,
don't
I
have a
want
frame.
to I want to extend on your point there, where you said that most men seem to not understand the difference between leading a woman and controlling her. Completely different.
Correct. Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's what I tell guys. I'm like, you don't want to control her. You want to lead her by. You want to show her that you're the man, that she can trust you, that she can follow you. Because if she doesn't have faith in you, if she doesn't think that she can follow you, then she's gonna be posting booty pics on Instagram. She's gonna be cheating on you. She's gonna be acting masculine. Right? I had a girl do that to me a long time when I was a teenager. I didn't understand masculinity or anything like that. I was actually raised in a Christian family where turn the other cheek.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't be a man because that's being evil, right? You got to be this nice, sweet, kind Christian boy,
Right.
right? Kind of toned down version of a man, and that's how I grew up, and I couldn't understand why all these women were like flaking on me and everything all the time.
Yeah.
And then I started to understand. I was coached by the late Bob Proctor from 2008 to
Oh,
2020. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. When he died in 2022, I mean, I felt like I lost like 10 family members at once. It was a really bad time for me. I didn't feel like I was that close to him, but when he died, I could tell like, wow, like I was really close to him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I mean, I wanted to like break down and cry like a little bitch. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he felt like a dad to me, and
Sure.
it really bothered me that he died. But yeah, one of the things that he always told me was he was like, don't God, what was he saying? He was like about women, he was like because he was telling me a story about his wife. He was like about leading. He was like I hate that. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I was like, I'm
That's all
trying
right.
to think of it right now. It's like 100 degrees outside, and like I've been working out like with the window open because
Mhm.
I like to sweat as I work out. So like my
Yeah,
brain
man.
is kind of probably a little too many
All right.
protein things too.
Get
But
that gym in, man. That's another thing that helps men. We talk about, I know I sound like a broken record every time when a guy comes up and says, "What should I do?" I'm like, get underneath weight. That's the very first thing anyone should do, because weights don't lie to you. Weights aren't
yeah,
like women. They're not like society. 200 pounds is 200 fucking pounds.
yeah,
Wherever you go, get underweight. Once you
yeah,
can master that, once you can master your own body, have patience, diligence, understand that I can't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1 month. but
Right.
I can look better than 80% of the people within 90 days, because 80% of the population, as well as you know, is either clinically obese or morbidly obese.
Yeah.
So you only got to get in the top 20%, and you'll do fine with women, because most guys are fucking fat asses.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember not all
And
this. I remember what I
oh,
was
God,
saying. He said a woman, one of the greatest things a woman appreciates in a man is his hustle.
yeah,
And I didn't understand what he meant by that, but he told me a story about his wife, how he met her and married her. Is he said that when he met her, she liked him because of his hustle, but he didn't have the money. She had the money, right? She was the one with the money, and he was the one with the hustle, and so that's why he's like we sort of clicked. He's like, because she had faith in him that if she were to, like, invest in his cause as
yeah,
being a public speaker and a coach and all that, that he would go far. And he did go far.
yeah,
And so that's what he
sure,
told me. He said more than anything, he's like, if you see a woman who's, really, acting really masculine and everything, he's like, that's because she's never met a man who she has faith in his hustle. And I
right,
met women like that. Like I met women like
yeah,
that who are like lesbians, and they say like they like women more than men because men are
yeah,
weak. And it's like, that's why, because most men, they act really nice and sweet to women. That's how I was raised too.
yeah,
Like, be nice to women, right? Girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice. Hell no, they ain't.
no,
They are not made of sugar and spice. And so
nope,
I had to find it out the hard way, by the way. But yeah, and he just, when he told me that, I started to kind of treat women a little differently. And I
yeah,
noticed when I started to kind of pull back, if they got masculine, I would pull back and I would just do my thing.
yep,
And even right now, like I wish I could like show some proof on this. Maybe I will on a YouTube video or something. But there was a girl that actually broke up with me. I didn't break up with her. She broke up with me like 2 months ago. And
mhm.
she said she just wanted some time, right? Some space.
Oh
Right.
boy, oh
Right.
boy,
You know what that means, right? That's like there's another dude on the side, right? I mean, I'm not
yep,
stupid, and so I'm
yep,
like, okay, hon, you go right ahead. And now, just
yep,
like 2 days ago, she calls back
of
and she's
course,
like, and I'm like, well, what are you calling me for, right? I thought you said you needed some time. And she's
yeah,
like, well, I just want to talk. And I'm like,
mhm,
well, I go like this. I kind of tricked her. I'm like, well, what happened to your boyfriend you're with? And she goes, he was, and she stopped. She goes, he
yep,
was, stop. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, I know you had a boyfriend. I'm not stupid. She's
yeah,
like, you're not mad, are you? I'm like, no, I'm not fucking mad. What are you talking about? You think I'm born yesterday or something? But
yeah, yeah.
it's funny how a lot of women are. They I think men and women, they have the same, like, like thinking patterns. It's just women cover it up more.
Women are very good
Yeah,
at, they're not
secret.
going to leave you until they have secured somebody else, typically.
Yep.
Monkey branching is what it's called. But they are
Every time.
hypergamous. And in our program, the biggest thing I always teach is really all you got to do is be her best option. And then hypergamy sort of goes away,
Yeah.
because if you're her best option, and like you said, a man with ambition, a man with hustle is sexier than somebody like Brad Pitt, a really good looking guy. Women want a man with ambition. They want a man with hustle. They want to get behind and basically find a winner and stay with that winner.
Yeah.
What happens is a lot of guys pretend they're somebody they're not in the beginning, and then they catch wind of it, and then they leave. And you can't blame her, because she's hypergamous. She's like, wait a minute, this isn't true. I'm starting to shit test you, and you're acting like a bitch. I'm out. And so you're dead on balls. Probably what you did with that girl is, I'm assuming you didn't even contact her at all, left her completely alone.
Yep.
They always come back. They'll call you. Could be a month, could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. They'll fucking call you again. And it's up to you to determine if you want to take them back. I always say never take them back, but
I haven't
that's off
decided yet, to
topic
be
we're
honest.
talking about. But this is masculinity. This is what guys aren't taught these days. And it's not about being a dick. It's just being around guys and understanding,
Right.
okay,
Right.
these are the things that I didn't know about. Now I know. Now I can apply. And if you apply, and then you can become a better version of yourself,
I think
you
that
actually attract better people.
that's huge because like
Yeah.
that's the thing that I've discovered too, like reading all these books. Like as I read No More Mr. Nice Guy, as I read Unplugged Alpha, as I read a lot of like the Rollo Tomasi series, all that stuff too. Like I started to, like I was pissed. I
Yep.
remember being enraged the first time I read those books, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like I've been sold a lie my whole life. And like once I finally got over the rage, it started to get to a point where like, well, what can I do about it, right? And the idea is that, like, dude, you need to forget about women. You need to forget about anything else. You need to focus on you. Just level yourself up. Like, nothing else matters. Nobody else matters because once everybody else is gone, you're left with you. And as long as you can count on you, it doesn't matter. Nobody else matters. That's the biggest thing is you got to be able to, I think, face the fear and then take the ownership and then like extreme ownership, just like Jocko Willner says, you know, it's the biggest thing is ownership is owning your shit. Like at the end of the day, like really, like everything is my fault. Everything is my responsibility. Everything that happens in my house is up to me. Everything that happens in my business is up to me. Everything that happens in my life, it's my fault because I can control it. I control who is in my life. I control who I allow to be around me. I control who my spouse is. I control all of those things. And if I allow people into my life that are screwing me over, that's my fault. Like I have to do something about that. That's because when you push off ownership and you start pointing outwards at everybody else, you give away your power. You have no power to change it in those circumstances.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like how you said that. You give away your power. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
See, I
remember
like
the word
videos
now, by
like
the way.
this. What's that?
What I was going to say before, I remember the word that I forgot before when I was talking about alpha male. A lot of guys think being an alpha male is being a jerk. It's not.
I'm
It's not.
self-proclaimed.
If I could pick one person in our society who I would say is like a good example for an alpha male, I would say Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. That's just
Why is that?
the way he comes out on stage. Have you ever been to one of his seminars? I have. Like,
No, I have a whole different idea on Tony Robbins that we won't get into.
well, I don't agree with everything he talks about, but I
Yeah.
do agree with like some of the stuff he says. I went to his date with Destiny
Yeah.
seminar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he came out on stage, I mean, I don't care if you were blind, you knew he was on the stage. You could just tell. You could feel that he was there. He just had this presence.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a real alpha male is you carry presence. You know, like when you walk into a bar, you don't gotta talk. You don't gotta be the loudest guy in the bar. People are looking at you because they could feel your presence.
Sure.
And so that's what I tell a lot of people too. I notice when guys come to me, they're like, you know, well, I want to be an alpha male. I want to be like an alpha male. And then they'll start talking about like, you know, movies and stuff. And I'm like, dude, Hollywood doesn't know what an alpha male is. Like stop copying that shit, man. Like, and so then I got to talk to them and tell them, you know, an alpha male is confidence in yourself, and confidence comes from your results in life. If you don't have any results in life, then go get some, right? Go make some. Like, don't complain. And another thing I noticed Bill said before, he was talking about like playing video games or something like that. Almost every guy that I talk to, they tell me one of the hardest things for them to give up is their video games.
Yeah.
See, me personally, I never had that problem, so I don't know what that's about because I stopped playing video games when I was like 16.
How old are you now?
33.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See, I'm 48 or 49, sorry. I never had video games. I mean, we had Atari, but like I never had them. So I do not understand like what the big thing is with them. So I never like when people want me to help them around that, I can't. I send them to Chase because I don't know how to help you with this because I don't understand it. So I can't do it.
what I tell them is I tell them as I say, go play a video game after you talk to me. And as you're playing that game, I want you to look at the clock and notice time ticking. Because every second, every minute that goes by is permanent in your life. You can never take it away. Like June, what is this? What is today? Like June 6th, June 7th, June 7th?
7th, yeah. The 7th.
I'll be like June 7th, 2024 will never happen ever again. Like ever. It'll happen one time. And when you die, your destiny is the culmination of every single day that led up to your death. And when you die, do you really want to be remembered as the dude who sat there playing video games all day long and never created anything in life.
Right.
That's
And
the catch. You won't be remembered. And so the biggest thing to understand that, like when I try to help guys too, like dude, I went to school to learn how to build video games. I'm a software developer at heart. That's what I've been for at least 15 years. I've been developing software. That's what I do. That's my biggest superpower. But ultimately, like what drove me into that was the fact that I wanted to learn how to make animations, learn how to make video games, all that kind of stuff too. So I went to school. I made 30 video games, put them on my phone, let my kids play them, all that stuff. I figured out every aspect of it. I knew how to make everything from scratch. And I played a lot of video games too for inspiration. I kind of was like, I thought that was the line that I was going down, right? And ultimately, I remember like the last few years, like I started to get on a greater mission. I started to try and really develop myself. I started to try and get entrepreneurship. I started to get around a lot of other people on the same mission. And every freaking time I sat down to play a video game, I'm like, I'm wasting time. Like I'm wasting time. It just would not stop in my head. Like, I'm wasting time. This is a giant waste of time. I felt like crap by the end of the day. If I sat around and played video games all day, I'm like, holy crap, dude, I wasted the whole freaking day. I'm further behind on my projects now. I'm not making the money I know I could be. I'm not reaching out to people. I'm not making sales. I'm not progressing. It's just not happening. And so every freaking time I sat down to play video games, that would happen. And so I just quit. Like over time, I got on a greater mission, knew exactly what I wanted out of life. And if I wasn't progressing in that direction, I thought I was wasting my time. And so I just quit doing it.
Yeah. That's actually
Awesome.
what a lot of guys that I talk to, that's what they experience. That's what they say. They're like, well, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. Like I don't feel like I'm actually moving. And I'm like, yeah, dude, if you think about it, you could save your game, right? In a video game, you could save it somewhere, like a save point or whatever, but you can't save your life.
Right.
Like your life keeps going. It keeps going no matter what. It never stops. You can't game over for you in real life is death. There's no restart, right? You don't get it like like Mario Brothers or whatever, where you get like 3 lives or something like that. I think it's the last game I played too. Last game I played was like Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64, like way back, right? Like that's just like nostalgia, right? But no, nowadays, I mean, and plus, I mean, I see some of the games out these days, and I'm kind of like, what's this teaching people, man? Like, what's the moral of the story here? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Pass the time. And that's the
It's
thing
just
too.
they're just living an avatar of. They're living an avatar of themselves. They're trying to create, especially like Call of Duty, all these other games. They're trying to create a big badass alpha male, but they're the dorks who are creating somebody that they could be themselves.
Right.
But they don't. They refuse to do the work. They refuse to go to the gym. They refuse to take accountability themselves. But they can create this avatar and be the badass. That's what it is. So
create that life they can't create for themselves. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. What I challenge the men in our program with too is the fact that, like, what is your most valuable asset in your whole life? What is the most valuable thing? Some guys will say family. Some guys will say, their cash, their job, their car, whatever it is in their life that they really value. And it's like, dude, it's your time. Your time is the most valuable thing. It's the one thing that you cannot get more of. You can replace your car. Your family, they're obviously there for sure. That's definitely I would put close second to that. You can't really replace family. You can replace friends. You can replace cash, all that kind of stuff. You can get more of it. What you will never get back is the time on that clock. You will never get it back. And so everything that you decide to move that time towards, you've only got 24 hours in the day. Like, so you're already capped. And on top of that, you're not getting any more back. You're not creating more hours in the day. You're not getting any more years in your life. You could die tomorrow, man. The most valuable thing you have on this earth is your time. And you're going to spend all your time doing that, pretty much getting nowhere, not moving towards any goals. And like a lot of the time they don't have goals. They just don't even know exactly what direction they should go in. It's like, okay, dude, you don't need to know what your next few steps are. You just need to know what direction you're moving in and just start moving in that direction, and you'll start to feel fulfilled.
Right. Go as far as you can go with the tools you got now. And when you get there, you'll know how to go further.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a great video. I'm glad that Bill, I don't know what happened to Bill. Bill, if you can hear us, thanks for jumping on, brother. We do these every Friday. So if you guys ever want to jump on, chime in, do however Chase got you in here. I don't know, but he does the computer stuff. Let us know. But we try to keep these about an hour just because other people, we don't want to take too much of their time. So we are going to close this off. But Jay, if you ever want to jump on, brother, every Friday, we're going to do this. If you have any ideas or any content you want to talk about, something that you want to talk about that you know a lot about or something, man, let's do a video on it, man. I'd love to collaborate with you.
Definitely. Appreciate you,
Well,
brother.
thank you very much. I appreciate meeting you, Jay and Chase.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have a good
Guys,
one,
like
man.
I said, we Chase, I'm going to actually have you talk about the app because you know about it, you built it, and talk about what's new and approved on that and how they can get in to the Wheel of Life and all this other stuff we got going on. So I'm going to leave it with Chase to end this episode. Guys, I'll be right here, but I'm Jared. Thank you for tuning in. I had an awesome time today because we had two amazing guys who shared a little bit about their lives. I invite them and anybody who wants to come onto these and discuss a topic. You guys are more than welcome, and girls, more than welcome to jump on.
Well, much
So,
like
Jason?
Bill said, we are on the front lines. We are a band of brothers here really going to war with this stuff. They are trying to take our masculinity from us. And we got to step up and we got to say, okay, this isn't happening. We have to control our society. We have to control the image of manhood and what it really means. Like I said, when I started really standing up for this stuff and posting this kind of content, I lost a ton of followers. But I feel more authentic to myself than I ever have. And I don't care. Those are superficial relationships that I don't need. I don't ever want to get them back. But the biggest thing when you get started in this is you need to know where you're going, what direction you're going in. One of the first critical steps to doing that is this Wheel of Life and is this values assessment. And so that's what I've spent the last couple of weeks really trying to build into our app here, is a way for you guys to quickly identify what your top 5 values are and really what areas of your life might be lacking and what you want to do in those areas. And so we have those assessments ready to go. You're going to see the links down below in this video later this week. And if you guys really want to start to be the beta testers for these for me and like get in there and break it for me, I would really appreciate it. So let me know if you guys want to take this values assessment. Let me know if you guys want to take this new Wheel of Life. It's all digitized now. You guys can basically just jump in there and answer your questions. Then you'll get your results at the very end. We'll send it to your email. And then you'll have some direction. You'll be able to know exactly what you do value, what you do want to create convictions around in the areas of your life where you really need to focus, because that's the biggest critical part of this is you need a map. You need to know exactly what your blueprint is. And if you guys want to talk further, you guys want to get into our greater program, you want more of our courses, you guys want live weekly calls with us, then we more than welcome that. We do these every Friday. If you guys want to jump into the conversation, please let us know. We'd be happy to have you on here. But if you guys want to jump into the group coaching program, hit us up below. We've got the link in our website. If you guys go fill out the form there, we can make sure you get booked from there. We can make sure you guys get these links. Make sure you guys are in our free Facebook group. You'll find that link below. We have plenty of resources in there for you guys too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said it all, guys. Also, just so you guys know, when you do the Wheel of Life and the values, we're not spamming you. I know a lot of people think, oh my God, now we're just going to get inundated. It's not that. We would definitely like to hear about your experience with the Wheel of Life and the values, but you don't have to. I mean, I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to call you and be like, hey, dude. So, but I do want you guys to figure out what your baseline is, and the Wheel of Life will do that. And then not many people know what their core values are. I just did a video on core values, but you can just go on the app and answer some questions and it'll tell you what your core values are. That's pretty effing easy if you ask that. Then once you know your core values are, then you'll have aha moments. You're like, oh, I get why I do these things. So definitely take that. It's 100% free. We're not even charging for it yet. I'm going to say yet because Chase and I spent an ass ton of money building this out, and it's free now, but it will not be free forever. So that's all I got on this one. Chase, thanks for joining in again.
For sure. Absolutely.
And we will
Appreciate
see
you guys.
you guys. Yes, sir. We'll see you guys next Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Talk